The race for the Premier League is starting to get really, really exciting. We're currently top of the league, but Man United still, I almost said Jan United then, still have a game where they can try and catch up. But most importantly, it does seem like Arsene Wenger's Arsenal are making a late surge into the top two spots. At the moment, it almost feels like one team make one too many mistakes and then you throw it all away. But forget the Premier League for now. This episode is all about trying to get into the heads of Jose Mourinho's Manchester United side. It's the EFL Cup final, a cup which, to be honest, we don't really care that much about, but it's a cup we did win in 2018-19. We reached the final last season where we lost to Arsenal's reserves, but a win here against Man United would not only give us a second piece of silverware this season, especially given that we won the Community Shield, but like I said, it would give us a bit of a mental advantage over Man United. So I don't want to waste too much time before we jump straight into this game, but we will look at our last two results since the last episode, of course. So the last episode, we completely smashed Benfica 5-0, as you guys will remember. We then played Watford, a bogey team of mine, in the 5th round of the FA Cup. We played a slightly weakened side. We went 2-1 down after going 1-0 up. Success equalised in the 42nd minute, and then we fell asleep from a set piece where Panaranda got Watford's second. Marco Rog was subbed on, found the back of the net to make it 2-2, but unfortunately with 20 minutes to go, we just couldn't find that winning goal. And not really ideally, it does mean that we are going to add to our fixture congestion after this EFL Cup final, which means we are going to have to play Watford again, but it's going to be at Ewood Park, and hopefully we'll be able to take them on. But the problem with that is it only leaves us with 3 days to get fit again for our game against Man City. Other really bad news, injuries have started to really pile up all of a sudden. These guys, the three of them really, have been in great goal scoring form. Barbosa, 11 goals for him this season in the league. Nyang, 14 goals for him this season in the league. And Matthias Kunz, 9 goals for him in the league this season. Sasa Varjek as well, our main right back, finds himself injured, which does mean we aren't going to be fielding as strong a side as I'd probably like to against Man United at Wembley here today. It means that players like Varela, players like Rog and Nano come into the side, but it's their chance to impress, and given the amount of depth that Man United have, one part of me wants to believe that Mourinho's going to play some youth, which might balance things out. But at the same time, it's still Jose Mourinho, who isn't exactly the biggest advocate of youth. And in a way, him not playing youth could end up being a blessing in disguise, because we played against Arsenal's youth last EFL Cup final, completely dominated them, but then lost to a Alexis Sanchez goal, which was completely undeserved, if I remember correctly. But let's stop talking about it. Let's go to Wembley, and let's see if we can win yet another trophy to add to the silverware cabinet. Okay, let's not waste any time and go straight to the starting 11. So, I'm not really going to go through our starting 11 simply because I guess you guys have probably seen it by now. In terms of instructions, we're actually going to stick with IWBs. Very unlike me, away from home. This is obviously a neutral stadium, given that it's Wembley, but that'll probably change. Plus, I want to be a little bit careful because we do, of course, have Varela at right back. I want to basically try and just make sure we stay solid, you know, pretty disciplined for the first 20 minutes and not concede. This Man United side is incredibly fast, and it kind of works well that we've got both Rog and Piaka as the two attacking midfielders, because it means that their pace will help us out a lot in terms of tracking back and keeping up with some of these incredibly pacey Man United players. For me, on paper, Man United have a much better team than us, but we'll have to wait and see. Pedro Melo, who of course was bought for £47 million in the summer by Jose Mourinho, Portuguese player, purchased from Torino. Physically, very, very good. Technically, not brilliant, but it's a good job we have pretty pacey centre-backs. Otherwise, we would, without a shadow of a doubt, be in trouble within that regard. Ahmed Sayed, Egyptian, advanced playmaker for Mourinho's lads. Pretty decent on the ball. Passing and vision could be a little bit better for the kind of Mata-ish role that he plays. But again, bags of pace on this guy. We played Mourinho a gazillion times. This 4-4-1-1, becomes a 4-2-3-1 when these guys push up. Giroud is a player that we've seen before. Valentin Giroud, 23.5 million was what he cost Man United from Anderlecht. He's only gotten 2 assists this season, granted only 9 appearances. But to be honest, this guy would easily walk into my first team. So the fact that he's only got 9 appearances for Man United this season, and only 3 of which have been starts in the Premier League, I think that says a lot about the quality that Man United have as a team. Once again, technically, this guy is actually very, very good. I think I called him the Belgian Ryan Giggs in the past, and you can obviously see why. Incredibly pacey, very good technically, but again, it's that strength, it's that pace, it's that acceleration that's really, I think, going to cause us problems. Bernardeschi, 28 years of age, has been at Man United throughout our save for quite a while, and again, every time he plays, always causes us problems, as you would expect. Lucas Lima and Pogba play in the middle of the park. Villacha plays at right back. Now, 19 years of age, this guy's probably their only real weak player, and it could potentially be an area we look to exploit. Once the first 10-15 minutes or so of the game have kind of advanced, I might look to move Piaka out wide and tell him to cut inside to really try and make this guy's life difficult. We may even opt to go for the direct balls forward because he only has a 5 jumping reach and attribute of 8 heading. Luke Shaw plays left back. Phil Jones, Blackburn fan, hopefully takes it easy on us, but again, very, very good player in this game. Eric Bailly and a regen, I believe, in the form of Tony Clough plays in goal for Manchester United. So that's it really. Douglas is, of course, going to be man-marking as Sayed. No one's going to be man-marking Melo. I do believe that the pace that both Volkvist and Kalas have should be sufficient to really deal with Melo. In terms of our instructions, a normal defensive line, if it feels like their direct balls are causing us too many problems, we can drop slightly deeper. And in terms of passing directness, we're going to look to retain possession. If it feels like we're losing or giving away the ball too much or not keeping enough possession, we can drop that down. But most importantly, I've told the lads nice and early on to be a little bit more disciplined. Let's just see, hold on to the ball, not dedicate too many men forward. That's why we've gone with IWBs, and not let Man United counter-attack us, which is really what they want to do. And as well, from set pieces, corners especially, attacking corners, that's an area they've always caused us problems from. So I've made sure to be extra careful to make sure we keep at least 1 extra man back when attacking corners, because they are going to look to counter-attack us from any attacking corners we get. Right then, here we go. Man United kick off. We are, as always, going to stick with a Premier League scoreboard because don't really have much of a choice. And yeah, if it's still 0-0 by 20 minutes and we're looking like we're retaining a decent amount of possession, I'll be relatively happy with that. Not too happy with Nano starting up front, but he's been in slightly better form recently than Andre Gray has, for example. Hence why he begins the game. Obviously, 2 of our main attacking players, 2 of our main goal scorers this season, Nyang and Barbosa, both out injured. And to be fair, you can argue that Kunz has also helped out a lot in terms of scoring goals as well this season, and he too is injured. Varjek, our main right back, is also injured. Very disappointed with the manner in which he got injured in training, but it's just Football Manager in a nutshell, and that's exactly what we didn't want. So El Sayed with bags of pace as Augustinson loses the ball, but real good tackle from Volkvist, and it's really important now that we keep a hold of this ball. Disappointed that so early on in this game, two of our players have somehow managed yellow cards. You can see high pressure game from Man United, direct balls forward as soon as they win it back. So important that we find the first goal of this game, and it is going to go to the Spaniard, the little Spaniard in Nano. He took home 1-0 up at Wembley. Great ball from Carlos Elena, I think it was. Out of all the players in our team, it was always going to be him to spot it. I mentioned Man United playing that high-pressure game, and that is actually one of the downsides of that high-pressure game. It sometimes forces your centre-backs to push forward, and that causes bags of problems because of the space that gets left behind. So now we drop down to a bit more of a defensive mentality, 30 minutes in, and what we can now do is move it forward to standard again. So far, possession-wise, we've had most of the possession. Man United haven't really caused us too many problems. We're looking to be a little bit more disciplined, looking to retain possession. Half-time comes along, and so far, as the commentator says, we look pretty good value for our lead. But most importantly, this team talk really could make or break this game. So most importantly, tell the lads, don't get too complacent out there. In terms of changes we could potentially make, I think I am going to have to obviously have a word with both Piaka and Nano, make sure neither of them are really told to tackle harder in this case, because a red card would be catastrophic for us really at this stage. Douglas hasn't had an amazing game, but despite that, we can always drop Morales down to the defensive midfield position. Romeu could come on, but he's not really the player he once upon a time was, and Sousa can then come on in midfield. But I do feel like Andre could come onto the pitch earlier than perhaps I may have anticipated, simply because of these yellow cards. So here we go, we kick off for the second half, and are there any signs of changes for Man United in terms of personnel? Doesn't seem like it. I was talking about Morales, and we've had quite a lot of twisted ankles recently, which is a shame because he's on a 7.1, and if he doesn't get any better, we are going to have to take him off. He's been such a crucial signing for us from the summer. He's on 61%, 5 minutes has gone, and to be honest, Giroud is going to come off now for Man United. Bernardeschi switches to the left, which is interesting because he was playing on the right-hand side in the first half, left-footed. So we were kind of expecting him to cut inside quite a lot. Now he's going to be on the left-hand side, which means they're going to be looking to get balls into the box. They've actually swapped out Felipe Melo. I think it's called Felipe Melo, something Melo, for Grabosavic, Miroslav Grabovac. Got there in the end. 18 strength, 16 acceleration, 16 pace. Jumping reach only 13 heading as well. But you can tell straight off the bat that Man United are really looking, they're going to try and actually take this game to us. They've actually moved Melo to the right hand side. They've not actually substituted him off. So who exactly have they taken off? They've still got Pogba and Lucas Lima in the middle of the park. The player who has gone off has been Valentin Giroud. So now we need to consider what we want to do in terms of changing this. The one thing I 100% I guess have to do is take off Morales. He is injured. We'll move Elena to the right hand side and leave Sousa on the left, simply because he is left only footed. In terms of changes, don't really feel like we need to do much at the moment. If the 65th, 70th minute comes, I really want to change our shape to kind of utilise two defensive midfielders just to stay a little bit more solid at the back. We've obviously modified our man marking a little bit, and we've modified our team instructions a little bit as well. Our passing directness has been reduced to shorter passing. We can't at any cost afford to, play a dumb pass that we end up giving away. Knowing this Man United side, it will definitely cost us a goal. And the other one change we made as well was tell the lads to just dribble a little bit less. And it is just all about trying to be more disciplined, try and take less risks, really. As we can see from the match stats, United only one shot on target. New striker obviously does come on. Demand more of the players as it goes on. We could perhaps tell them to tighten up. But this is it. Man United, they've been forced into making this change. We can see that Bernardeschi really is playing a little bit more advanced than Felipe Melo. And that's probably them trying to really take advantage of the fact that Varela is Varela. You know what I mean? Douglas has now managed to get a yellow card. It looks like we're approaching the 65th minute, but despite that, we're still the ones getting the shots on target. We're still the ones getting opportunities on goal. But I do still feel like at the moment we're starting to accumulate one too many yellow cards. Dioniso now is going to try and play this out the back to Augustinsson. Sousa, very, very young, playing in a cup final against Man United. But it's once again our little Spaniard in midfield with a wonderful pass. And Piaka should have played that across to Rog. And that would have been 2-0. And that would have been game over. Callas now playing this out the back to Marco Piaka. I'm still very wary of these yellow cards. Nano looking for a run or two. Finds Piaka, who shoots. And it's a great save from Tony Clough, the young Man United goalkeeper. Second clear-cut chance gone. Sousa is going to whip the corner in. Didn't really even get past the first defender. It's really important now that we don't lose the ball. I tell him to dribble less, and he does that. And that's probably a sign. Nuno Sousa sticks out a leg, and for me now, we probably have far too many yellow cards. I don't know what this highlight is going to be, but it feels like it's about time we make a change. We don't have another right back, that's the issue. Dumic can play right back, but Jesus Christ, he'd get absolutely demolished up against the pace, really, of someone like Bernardeschi. So my gut feeling tells me, let's just take a look at this highlight and be ready to pause. There's the red card. There's the red card. I should have taken get stuck in off. There's the red card. I don't know what's wrong with this referee today. Oh, God. All right, this is where I earn my money, I guess. So changes wise, it's going to be Marco Rog to come off to give us that extra man in midfield. Romeu is not exactly match fit, but we really do need his defensive qualities right now, just in front of the back two. Sousa as well is going to become a little bit more defensively minded. Piaka's going to become a wide target man out here on the left-hand side. And Nano, really, why has he become an attacking midfielder in his shadow striker role? Down the middle. And the idea really here is just to go a little bit more direct, and just try and cause this lad problems. I've told him to exploit that flank as well. Defensive line-wise, we've dropped down to a counter mentality, which naturally means that our defensive line drops a little bit deeper. I'm not going to change our tempo just yet because the higher tempo works well with the counter mentality. But I have toned down our closing down a little bit as well, simply because sometimes closing down can cause gaps to happen, which isn't really what we can afford at this current moment in time. Augustinsson and Varela both stay as IWBs. In fact, I'm just going to make Varela a defensive fullback because he's in a lot of trouble right now down his right-hand side. In fact, I am going to swap these two around simply because it feels like Sousa being slightly more defensive, Varela could do with his help at the moment in time. It is going to be very, very tough trying to finish this game off, and I just can't believe it was Douglas who got sent off, the guy who's been begging to leave and unhappy for the entire length of the season. As the game progresses, we might drop our tempo, look to frustrate Man United. You might think, well, why am I still not looking to retain possession? Again, I just kind of feel like the more direct ball to Piaka will also tell our goalkeeper to distribute to him as well. Could be, what we're looking for right now. Instead of sit back and let Man United attack us and defend, if we keep the ball in their final third, then they can't get anywhere near our goal. 75 minutes in, I'm really, right now, it's just probably a case of telling them to tighten up. You can immediately see the body language of some of them players starting to get nervous. Douglas being one of them, he better bloody be nervous. 78, 79, 80, 82. And now this is where we really start to make changes. Straight away, Villacha's got a yellow card, so we can't see it because we're on key highlights, but straight away we know something's happening, right? Which is really what we're looking for. Nano now, for me, is going to fall back to really just being a winger... inside forward, no, a winger on support. Tell him to close down much more, mark tighter, tackle harder, to maybe just try and help Varela out a little bit as well. Defensively, we're going to switch to defensive, going to look to waste time. We're going to drop our tempo a little bit and keep the mixed passing style on, but look to retain possession a little bit, and then really just tell the lads as well to stick to positions. A lot of changes here, but with 8 minutes to go, it is what it is. We no longer need to tell Dioniso to, try and hoof the ball forward. Fewer risky passes, slow the pace down. Maybe even probably telling him to roll it out is a little bit risky. Leave the decision making up to him. I think we've made all three of our substitutions. We actually might be able to make one more substitution. And it might not be a bad idea to even bring on a third centre-back here, but a part of me doesn't feel like that's the right choice. I'll actually save this third substitution for the last 5 minutes or so and see if we can use that as a means to really try and waste time. 85. Oh, for God's sake. Of course it stems with us having a free kick. Play that back, Nano. Oh, he somehow manages to hold on to the ball, and you can see Man United struggling to win that ball back from him. Luke Shaw does win it back. We've got to be careful. Oh, really good stuff there from Volkvist. And we can keep this simple now. Piaka doesn't even need to run forward. Again, play it back to Augustinsson, who plays it into Elenya. Real nice football. Slow and steady. Wins the race. Sousa, though, with a killer pass. Piaka's going to shoot. Another chance for the Croatian. And let's be honest, Piaka could have easily put us 2 or 3-0 up, early on in the game. 86 minutes now. It looks like it's going to be a free kick to us. Man United are starting to get more and more frustrated. We're going to drop even deeper, reduce our passing directness, and as soon as we can, make one more substitution, as soon as it lets us. And there we go, 4 minutes of added time. Who's the man going to be who we bring on? It is in fact going to be, I'm just going to do it, Nano's going to come off. On comes Dario Dumic, third centre-back, defensive centre-back, as cover, playing a little bit deeper than the rest of the lads, and typical smash and grab, parking the bus, drop to contain, highly structured, 50 seconds to go. And I'm not that bothered about the EFL Cup, but I genuinely do feel like the morale hit that United would get from this loss could end up being a incredibly decisive, goal! A very decisive factor in the Premier League title. Piaka tried, he huffed and puffed, and with the last kick of the game, found a goal. Sousa's free kick. Elenya got the assist early on, and you know what? He's only gone and gotten an assist again. Clough, Tony Clough, little youngster regen in goal for Man United. He's been phenomenal all game, it has to be said. If it weren't for him, Man United would have been at least 3 or 4-0 down before half-time. But a moment of magic, a moment of quality from Marco Piaka wins us the EFL Cup. 2-0 win. So far, we've been in 2 finals this season and won both pieces of silverware. Congratulations, lads. Everyone's gaining confidence. Just to, really rub it in. Let's see. Can we see some of the morale on the Man United boys after that? Maybe not so soon. What a game that was. We obviously qualify for the Europa League. I don't really think qualifying for Europe is really an issue for us at the moment. Douglas is going to be banned, obviously, as you'd expect. My name is on the lips of the fans. Apparently, I am building a Blackburn legacy, winning my 6th trophy at the club. Is that how many trophies it's been? To be honest, I've not been keeping count. And is there anything else here? Not really, other than we've won the EFL Cup. And like I said, let's give this guy a bit of a... Oh, okay, he's on loan from Man City. Like I said, it's definitely going to give us a big mental boost against Man United. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. They have the much tougher run of games in going into towards the final few games of the season. Next episode, I mean, it's kind of tough. It's like, do we do Man City away in the league or do we do Benfica? It kind of feels like Benfica's won, winning 5-0 on aggregate. But I think the next episode could just end up being a double episode. Man City in the Benfica game. And the Benfica game can just be a bit of a laid-back game, really, where we just give the youngsters a license to roam, even though you can argue we played a heck of a load of youngsters in this game. But anyways, I should probably stop talking because I'm not keeping track of the time. But that must have been a very, very long episode, that 2-0 win. With the red card, with the amount of tweaking, it really did genuinely have a bit of everything. But we did it in the end. We played Man United 3 times so far this season. We beat them 2 out of 3 times. And believe it or not, if we do beat Watford in the FA Cup, we have been drawn against them. And we could end up playing against them again, which isn't really what I wanted. But it's almost like the game is doing this on purpose. But until next time, if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button. I most certainly did. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.